Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this 100,000 subscribers special. I put out a poll, and everybody decided that I was to write a story and narrate it for you. And this is that story. This will also be considered a TFOS, and I think an HFY, although I haven't asked the authorities on such matters. I just wrote a story. I hope that you enjoy, and hopefully going into the future, we can do this again. If this video somehow manages to get 100,000 full views, when I mean a full view, I mean like watching most of the video, then maybe I'll do another one. Also, plenty of uplikes and all of that stuff. But before all of that, I'd just like to stop and take a moment. And I'd like to thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you. Without you, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to support my family, and I wouldn't be able to do this fantastic job. So thank you. Thank you for sticking with me, and thank you for thank you for helping me reach this very important goal in a YouTuber's career, although just a number in any other career. But truly, honestly, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Anyways, on to my silly story. Humanity goes to war over a stick. Written by me. Like most things related to humanity, first contact was made by mistake with a ship that by all reasoning should not be able to travel in space, and yet it did. The aptly named Defiance had just finished a successful test of an FTL drive. If you consider accidentally exiting FTL a mere 1 kilometer off the bow of another spaceship a success. The humans did, but the rest of the universe did not. It was fortuitous that the race that the humans had bumped into was considered the most neutral and level-headed. Luck seems to favor them. The Lafnamore were one of the founding races of the Council, but unlike the others, they were neutral in all things except certain things regarding their one religion, which shared the name of the race. Even then, they would shrug off most of it and remain stoic and good-natured. If the humans had bumped into any other race, there likely would have been problems, whether it be the expansionist Takals or the trademonger Mularians. Simply, any other race would have tried to take advantage of them in one way or another. The Lafnamores liked to explore, catalogue, and meet new races, and, as they say, test their faith. Even though they say this, they keep their religion to themselves, to the point that very little is known about it, and never thrusted upon others in the course of their journey through space, except for some small rituals. First contact may have been new to the humans, but the Lafnamores were old hands at it, and had codified almost everything relating to it. Each race had their own way of doing it, with different time frames. But the one prime rule of the Council was that the member race to discover a new race would have primary authority over the first contact, and no other member was allowed to contact the new member species until first contact had been completed. The process, in the case of the Lafnamores, could be as short as a couple years and up to a couple decades. Once the emergency situation of the near-miss in space was dealt with, the Mummasan tethered the Defiant and helped her return back to their home system called Sol. Once there, and once communications had been sorted between the ship and relevant Earth parties, they broadcast a greeting to the human race and sent the initial summary of first contact procedures. There were many steps to ensure that there were no technological, biological, or cultural mishaps between the humans and the rest of the galaxy. They informed humanity that they would not scan their radio waves or infiltrate the internet to learn about them, as that was against their beliefs. However, they also did not want humanity spewing all of that information into the wider universe, so they set up a net around the Sol system to silence all general broadcasts out and only let out directed broadcasts. This would allow humans to choose what they shared with the rest of the universe. After 10 long years of talks and work on checking biological compatibility with other races, more specifically any new contagion that could spread between species and vice versa, vaccines were created, tested, and moved into production. Every step of the way, Earth scientists were kept in the loop and even helped in their creation. Once all testing was completed with no side effects, negative or positive, the vaccine was moved into production. In the eyes of the Lofnamore, the vaccine had to do what it was made for. No more, no less. If by some chance there was an unexpected positive side effect, it would be studied and removed and be slated for further study under another program. At the same time, they worked with engineers and technicians to make sure that the same was true for technology. Viruses, backdoors, and all manner of security holes were studied and removed. There were a couple that exposed vulnerabilities on their end, but most of it was on the humans' end, which is to be expected. Eventually, once that was completed, humanity was trained and given the responsibility of maintaining the control node for the broadcast net around Sol. The humans then learned that it did the same for incoming transmissions as it did for outgoing, basically reducing the galactic equivalent of noise pollution. In time, once the humans expanded out of their systems to new ones, they would be responsible for building and maintaining their own nets over these systems. It was a polite thing to do, as the Lofnamore would point out. As for the cultural aspect of the first contact procedures, those were left up to the individual species to deal with. On that front, the Lofnamore would have a short cultural compatibility test at the end of the last first contact meeting, where the treaties would be signed, ending all the bureaucracy around first contact. The humans would then officially have a seat at the Galactic Council and be on their own to do what they pleased, within galactic laws. The final meeting, which the humans thought had taken too long to arrive, and the Lofnamore thought was smooth and quick, had arrived. Everything was already prearranged. Every document to be signed was vetted and approved. Every speech was checked and rechecked. All translators updated perfectly to allow no miscommunication. All that had to happen was signing the papers, the Lofnamore cultural test, and then finally some speeches. At this point, they had insisted on minimal communication, which were 100% professional, with no personal touches. This was to avoid contaminating their final test. Humanity was confused about it, but accepted it. The Lofnamore party consisted of one ambassador, one junior ambassador, and one priest of Lofnamore, as well as a security contingent. This was as per protocol, more than fear of something would happen. The human party was similarly small and consisted of an ambassador, junior ambassador, and an artist to sketch the events as it happened, again with a small security contingent. The meeting would not be broadcast, as it was technically illegal to do so before signing the last document. Speeches were predictably held once the final test was completed. Before the evening was done, humanity was part of the council. Unfortunately, the first broadcast of the human race to the rest of the galaxy, which are some of the most watched broadcasts due to curiosity about new members, was even more memorable than expected, and set the galaxy on edge, silent and terrified. The broadcast started with the Lofnamore priest pointing a gun at the human ambassador. The human ambassador tackled him to the ground, while the priest screamed, "You shall be cleansed!" The security teams managed to separate them eventually, and evacuated them out of the neutral meeting location to their respective ships. No logs were kept inside before the signing, and the altercation that happened directly after. The logs and eyewitness accounts of what happened on those ships directly after the incident were the only things that could be used to explain what happened during the meeting. Lofnamore's ship directly after the incident. Emissary Gull stormed through the ship and walked directly to the bridge. Behind him followed the security detail and ambassadors, all smiling to one degree or another. He barged past the guards and onto the bridge. The captain turned to protest the breach of protocol, but stopped when he saw Gull's face. "Stick! Initiate! A stick! Initiate the memotic contagion protocol! Stick!" Gull wheezed out while falling to his knees after stifling more laughter. The captain turned to the rest of the party, who were now starting to laugh as well. He looked around the bridge at his crew, who were now starting to smile. Looking down at the unmoving priest, he realized with terror that he too was smiling. The captain walked over to the communications console and transmitted a single command to the rest of the Lofnamore initiating the mimetic contagion protocol, after which he returned to his seat. By that time, the entire ambassadorial party lay on the floor, dead, and the bridge was roaring with laughter, including himself. With the last of his faculties, he initiated the self-destruct sequence of his ship and lowered his head in prayer and sent one final message to the humans. The human ship immediately after the incident. Ambassador Johnson walked onto the bridge of the vessel in a confused state. Once there, the captain looked at him in the eyes and asked, "What happened?" Ambassador Johnson looked up and stuttered, I don't know. Everything was okay, and then he pulled a gun on me. I just reacted like we're trained to." "What did you say to him, Jack?" Captain Carp demanded. But before the ambassador could respond, there was a pinging sound from the communications console, followed shortly after by the communications officer almost shouting, Sir, we have a message from the Laughtermull ship." The captain turned and watched the color drain from the young officer's face before he barked, "Spit it out!" "What does it say?" "More, sir. They declared war on us." The young officer stuttered out before taking a deep breath and adding, "It also says, we are no longer the Laughtermull, and we will cleanse you from this galaxy until we laugh no more." The cop turned to Jack and growled, "What in the actual fuck did you do?" Jack looked horrified and stared off into the distance. "He said, tell me a joke. Out of habit from my grandson, always asking me to tell him a joke. I said the first thing that popped into my head." He trailed off. Carp shook Jack. "Jack, what did you say?" Jack blinked a couple times. What's brown and sticky?" The whole bridge groaned, and the captain face-palmed. End of story. And again, thank you so very much for sticking with me. Hopefully my writing skills are up to par and you enjoyed this. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And again, thank you for sticking with me. Cheers. I would just quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Dragon Soup, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Red Panda 121, Leslie 517, Bushmaster 177, Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Sans the Skeleton, Lightjock, Dragzoon WRE, and Lord Azrakal. Thank you very much.